We all make mistakes and we can't avoid it, but it's about what we learn from these mistakes. And the people here sitting here, we're definitely not...
All mistakes.
Yeah. We're not immune to mistakes. All right. We're going to talk about our mishaps. We're going to talk about other things that are common and what we can do to avoid them. But before we get started, hit like, hit subscribe, and share with your reptile-loving friends. This is the Reptiles With Podcast. All right. Let's talk common mistakes. What are common mistakes that keepers make?
Keepers?
Yeah, keepers,
Just
breeders,
keepers
all
first.
of that.
Okay, everybody?
Yeah.
I'd say with keepers, the lack of knowledge.
Okay.
I would definitely say is probably the most widespread because the excitement of getting into the animals tends to outshine the knowledge that you probably should be doing. Or
Okay.
the educating yourself is what I mean to say.
He's almost there. He almost has a thought.
Yeah. The thought process is there. It's just like it's hurricane season. The roads are bad right now.
Got you.
But
What?
listen, man, it's around the corner.
All right, Chuck, what's a common mistake for you?
A common mistake is getting too excited.
That's what I said.
No, he said it better.
No,
he said it better.
It's different. You're talking about research. I'm gonna talk about like projects and money. It's different.
Okay.
Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with you?
What's wrong with you?
I think a common mistake is getting too excited and looking at things or animals with a dollar sign to them.
Ooh, yes,
and
that is
then
true.
you end up fucking yourself at the
Yeah.
end of it, and then you get angry at yourself, and then all these thoughts. Then you gotta sell stuff, and then you can't,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think that's a common mistake that you two make.
Yeah. Hey, no. Listen.
Nah. You two make that mistake all the time.
What do you think I'm gonna say? I wasn't gonna deny.
Okay, go ahead.
No. Listen.
What are you gonna say?
Yeah,
I
go
was
ahead.
going to agree. I'm living proof. A lot of people are living proof of that.
All my
It's-
animals were for free.
It's crazy because my notes right here specifically says I don't make mistakes.
And then I caught your mistake. We literally talked about your mistake like 10 seconds ago with Tyler.
But then the next thing is biting off more than you can chew.
Bro, you see?
No, I get it.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I used to make that mistake when I was gay.
I'm gonna have a great time editing this. Oh my god, that is
You're gonna
crazy.
break
I'm
your
gonna have
knee,
to
bro.
keep. I'm gonna have to keep a note here. Lots of edits.
Dude,
No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
I should have said I used to do that when I was a little girl. It would have
Okay,
been
okay.
funnier.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Okay, but
But no, okay. I put here for my stuff is actually kind of what you said was incorrect research. Assuming common species are easy just because anybody could do this, and then is like biting off more than you can chew. Because a lot of it for me personally is just like you quickly get. The word is not obsessed, but you quickly get excited with the results, right? You're like, oh, I know how to do this, so now I'm just gonna multiply it, and then just assume like, oh, I could just do that just because, and it's just like these are live animals. It doesn't work that way. With what we spoke about earlier was the white tree frogs. I mean, we could talk about it. I have white tree frogs. Well, I bought them, and they're living at Tyler's house. They haven't bred, and Tyler and I like half jokingly is like, we got sold a dream, buddy. You know? But no, I mean, and that is a case where it's just like, yeah, I mean, they're quote unquote easy to breed. You do it, once you get there, they self-sufficient, but it's also like, it's not just sunshine and rainbows. Like you got to get there. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
No, I'd say that one of the biggest kickers when it comes to like getting sold the dream and stuff like that is when people realize the thing is too, people are told this, but it doesn't really hit until they actually have to live through it. That there's no break.
Yeah.
There's no you can give yourself off seasons with like brumation and stuff like that, but there's no break when it comes to actually doing a real project with these reptiles.
Dude, I'll even do you on what you just said right there. Pause. The
that
brumation
was
thing.
crazy.
Yeah. Brumation. Everybody loves to say, "Oh, I love when I put my animals to brumate because
there's
they
big
don't have
asterisks
to
there.
they don't have to eat or whatever." And I'm just like, "No, dude, but you're still checking on the animal, bro." When I used to keep the skinks inside, and this is how I used to brumate the skinks, all right? Because I kept the skinks in the same room as my ball pythons, so I would have to put the skinks in a different bin and put them in the coldest room in my house, which was my parents' room. So it was just a stack of 30 skinks in their room, just hanging out. And then I'd have to go, because I wasn't moving a rack in there. I had to go and I'd have to pull them out every couple days and check on them. Like, you good? You have any issues? Do you have water? You good? You have any issues? Do you have water? Like that. On routine through brumation. Because, like, brumation, even that is still work.
Oh,
And
yeah.
people think that, oh, the animals are asleep, I don't have to do anything.
Because people are told that in the beginning. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like an off-season almost, because they do get scared. Because one of the things that I always heard people talking about is, like, the cost of feeding.
Yeah.
Most of the time when we're talking about the animals in the project, it's usually ball pythons. So when you can kind of convince someone in a way that you don't have to feed them as heavy all the time, it makes them feel better, but you still have to keep it going. And the moment that they get tested with that, that's when it makes or breaks. And usually it breaks, which is fine, because this isn't honestly something that everybody should be doing. You know,
Yeah.
it's a lot of animals to take care of.
Is there like a zookeeper version of this? In
Like
your
what?
experience, like, is there like a thing that like most people that get into the trade like think, and it's just like, no, like, this is not that.
I think very different. I think, like, now that you say that, the only thing that I can think of is like when Brian got in and he's like, well, what about this and what about that? And it's like, okay, like, everything you know from the pet trade is out the window now. Like, a lot of this stuff is outside, so why would we need UVB in that enclosure? Why would we need, like,
I
certain
hope
things?
I hope that he did not ask
No,
you
no,
about...
no, no,
Okay,
no,
okay.
no, I'm saying in
I was
general.
like, damn,
No,
Brian.
no. I'm saying in general, like, a lot of people come in and say, well, what about this? And it's like,
Yeah.
forget about it. Like, especially in the cold season, a lot of the lizards I keep outside,
Yeah.
and then everybody's like freaking out, and I'm like, bro, I do this shit. Like, oh no, they shouldn't be below 70, bro. I put them at 40. They're fine.
Yeah.
Like, you just gotta know how those animals would survive in those scenarios and see how other reptiles do it. They go on the ground, so I allow the reptiles that are outside, if possible. Like the black-throated monitor, I allow them to dig all the way down, and I don't do anything else. That's it. So it's like things like that where a lot of people come in that keep animals in captivity as pets, and then they come in and they're like have this expectation, and it's like, no, it's a little bit more advanced in some ways and less advanced in others.
Yeah.
So I think zoos are not very good with tools and equipments like UVB and all that, especially in Florida, because all our stuff is outside. So we don't really look into that stuff. So it's a middle ground between the two. So I think, like, for people coming in is figuring out how things live outside and how we figure out through scientific research. And then for us zookeepers, because we keep so much outside, we got to learn how do we keep things inside when we have to. So, like, the venomous snakes, my Yucatan spiny-tailed iguanas, my Campeche iguanas. Now I have yellow tree monitor, monkey-tailed skink. Like,
I would even say, like, in your case scenario, that requires extra steps, because it's like, yeah, technically you're keeping things inside, but also it's still in an outdoor environment,
Yeah.
because it's like, it's your glass enclosure where the back end is inside, but the outside, I mean, the front end is outside.
the sun cooks
Yeah,
it. So
exactly.
when I put in the monkey-tailed skink, I had to temp it all the time
Yeah.
because the sun could hit the glass, and I have to figure out. And then that also goes into, like, okay, whenever we do maintenance to the plants around, we have to know which ones we can cut, which ones we cannot cut, because some of them are blocking the sun. So it's like,
Yeah.
some of that stuff.
Yeah, very, very interesting. In your time working at a reptile shop, what was the common mistake?
I'd say it again, that's the lack of knowledge.
Okay.
Because
But is there like a specific story that sticks out to you that it's just
I
like,
think I got one for you, bud.
all right, you
me?
say while he thinks.
I'll say it, and then you figure it out. Humidity.
I mean, I would say just climate control in general, because that does bring up a really great point. It also goes to, like, I always think about it as like a trading card mentality. Like, you get that specific animal and you follow that little set of like attributes that animal is supposed to have,
Fit into, yeah.
that it fits into, and people don't necessarily realize you don't have to follow that most of the time. You really don't have to follow any of that. There is also a severe lack of trust within the animal's ability to live within itself.
Yeah.
That I think is probably the biggest difference between, like, the inside pet world, and, like, keeping things inside, and, like, the zoological stuff. There's a lot more trust in the animals. But when it comes to, like, the reptile shop specifics with humidity and climate control in general, it's just, they're too careful on one hand, but at the same time, it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like there's people who are too careful, that pay too much attention to the animal
And then
and
the
do
opposite,
everything too
yeah.
perfect to the point where the animal becomes
Stagnant.
immunally.
Immunocompromised.
Yes, that
Yes.
its area is so perfect that the moment something like
Changes.
the one day that you don't spray, the one day that the temperatures are off, dies.
Yeah.
So then that animal gets a bad rep for being very
Yep.
Sensitive.
and all that stuff. I'd say chameleons are a great example of that.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
to say that chameleons aren't more
Nah, they're not.
well comparatively to what other common reptiles you can keep. Chameleons, I would say, are a little more
Specific.
different and specific to an extent, but nowhere near as bad as people really think it is.
Yeah.
But and another thing on that is temperature gradients.
Mm-hmm.
We keep the animals too cold, but
Mm-hmm.
we kind of have in the span of reptile keeping and the way it is with enclosure size and
Yeah.
stuff like that and the way things are designed,
We have to.
you have to.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you give the animal the temperatures that it really needs in the parameters that we give them, you're going to cook it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Good job,
climate
dude.
control is a really
He
big
fucking,
one for me.
yeah,
Yeah,
when he
good
gets
job.
on, when he gets on,
Yeah,
when-
those were words.
I
Yeah.
can keep going. Actually, listen, I can keep
yeah,
going.
That's
I was
good.
actually
That's-
gonna ask you to like give a little bit more advice on the chameleon thing, like things that you see that it's just like, well, you know, yeah, you didn't need to do this, but you should have done that.
Well,
Or if there was another animal, because my thing was just like, it's like the everybody says like, oh, your ball python doesn't need to have it doesn't need to have vertical space because they're not arboreal, and so I'm gonna put it in a tub because they're not gonna climb.
see, that's
but
the opposite end of the stuff that I was talking about. You got the people that pay too much attention and the people who don't pay enough attention,
okay,
and they see what they see, and they think that's all it is.
yeah,
Whereas everybody who I know, like for example, my ball python that I gave to my old teacher, she put that snake in like an
18 by
iguanarium.
36.
No, it's almost like an iguanarium, and she lives outside,
Yeah.
and she's always sending me videos and pictures and stuff that it acts like a carpet python. It's like super sick because the animal I knew would always stay in her little hide. It acted like everybody else's ball python, but when you give those animals the opportunity, when you give those animals things that everyone tells you not to do, you see a lot more of the animal.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I think for chameleon specifically, I think like everybody sells you the screen enclosures. I'm gonna be honest, I hate those things with all my heart.
Why?
Two things. So indoors they suck because you can't control humidity, and usually homes are very dry.
and that's why people are always talking about spraying them all the time
Yeah.
because you're trying to fight the humidity and the temperature of the inside area.
And just
Yeah.
because they can drink does not mean they won't dehydrate. You can still dehydrate with like water, with
Yeah.
giving them water. So I think those enclosures suck indoors because of that. Then they suck outdoors because like the rain goes in, sun goes in, all those things are good, but a lot of animals get nose rubs, and then the mesh itself is very harsh. So I think the mesh is what I have issues with. So a lot of times they end up losing nails and fingers and stuff like that. So I think that's the issue I have with like chameleons. Like right now, I know of two people, which I'm very iffy about this. They have two. Each one of them has a aviary style enclosure with chameleons. So like the aviary at work, but instead of birds, it's chameleons. It's really cool. Only issue I got is like something breaks down, invasive chameleons. But to each their own.
Yeah.
But yeah, people are doing stuff like that, and that's like bigger enclosures, better meshing. They breed on their own. They're like it's easy.
Yeah.
That's when they become easy. When you give the animal what they need, it's easy. But whenever you have the mesh enclosures indoors, now it's an animal that's hard to keep
Yeah.
because you're not keeping it how it's supposed to. It becomes a hard animal to keep once you're not able to give it what it needs. But these people are outside. Like they literally, my friend has a walk-in enclosure with chameleons all over the place. And you come in with a bucket full of crickets and they all come in and they eat. Like he doesn't even do anything. All he does is he sprays it whenever it's not raining, and that is it.
Yeah.
Hardy animal.
Yeah.
You bring an animal from captivity that somebody keeps indoors, you put them in there, it dies.
Yeah. Let's jump ahead a little bit then. Let's talk combining this with the is surviving thriving thing. Because when we have some of these animals that we're that we can keep, and it's just like, oh yeah, it eats, shits, breeds, and it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can say something about this. All right.
Go for it.
My dad's in prison. He's been in prison for 27 years. He eats, he shits, and if you put a woman, he'll fuck her.
Okay.
Is he thriving?
You gotta
I
ask
can
him that.
text him right now.
Yeah.
I can text him right now. I'm like, yo, Dad, are you thriving? He's gonna be like, fuck no, I hate this
Yeah,
place.
it's bare
Yeah.
minimum.
You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
just because an animal is behaving in a certain way does not mean that it's doing good, that it's thriving. And it shows in many different ways. So for example, ball pythons and boas, whenever you do studies on their muscle tissues and stuff like that, it's usually fucked up. It's usually underdeveloped, not strong enough, because boas, for example, climb a lot in comparison to the ones in the wild. So that alone shows like shorter lifespans. It shows like the animal's not doing the things that its body is meant to do. Therefore, the body is not developing it the way it should. So even though it's eating and breeding, it's not developing the way it should.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of animals in captivity end up looking different. Like somebody just posted, I think it's Breeze Exotics, Mike Tutulo's girlfriend
Okay.
or wife. I don't know. She posted hognose snakes. And she posted the hognose snakes like up close to the face and how much they're changing in the pet trade because of inbreeding,
They're
because
getting
of
like a
I think I
bulldog
saw
face
something
almost.
about that
because they're
recently.
kept
Yeah,
in
yeah.
small enclosures.
Yeah.
Like slowly they're losing the nose. It's like, and that's like that animal breeds, it eats, like it's doing all the things, but is it really thriving if it's like changing in a way that
It's not.
Yeah.
Natural.
yeah,
when
it's not
something that's
natural and
supposed to
it's
be
not
natural. Yeah.
exactly. It's like because a lot of those changes for alligators, for example, is microfractures that cause those things. So is the snake having microfractures because it's pushing on the tub so much?
Have you
be.
okay? But have you seen now with the hognose? That's more of like these are ways that these animals through generations of breeding are evolving almost because we're not offering them these things. Have you seen that kind of stuff with crocodilians? I mean, because they take so much longer to breed and stuff like that. Or are you noticing like any of these like multiple generation captive bred, maybe even specifically alligators because there's so many of them. Have you noticed like any issues of the captive bred ones through generations?
No, because well, other than so for us at my job, no, because we're very new and all of ours like they're all wild.
Got you.
All of ours are wild, except for some of the babies, but they're all wild. They're nuisance alligators that get brought in, and the babies that we have bred, they're not big enough for us to tell anything. And then other babies come from farms, so like I can't tell you much. However, when I worked at Gatorland, they have more of a hamburger head, is what we call it. But we don't think it's genetic. We think it's because of the way they're kept, like under human care. And it's when they get the really wide, broad head. Their teeth start facing everywhere. And then they got this, I don't know what they are. They get some weird lumps on top of the head here. But I don't think that's like genetic. I think that's just because they were in captivity their whole life. They end up looking that way, which we do see that a lot within facilities. But the thing with the alligators is like we all get like wild caught alligators that are a nuisance. We all get them from farms, and it's like a constant cycle of it. So the genetics are we're never inbreeding, like at least on purpose, because there's so many animals in one place. It's like it's really hard to inbreed them because of that.
You got anything on surviving and thriving?
I always have a weird view on it because it's like in the wild, at least the standard is to survive. But at the same time, that animal surviving in the wild is exhibiting all the traits that it needs to, therefore it's thriving. So it's like in captivity, the animal doesn't, it shouldn't, the standard should be for it to thrive, right? But then we get like lost in the bare minimum of what this animal needs, and that kind of gets misconstrued into that thriving mentality, because it's like this animal is, when people see the fat animals, it's like, oh, he's
doing okay,
he's doing good,
he's great,
right?
He's hanging around. I
think that more specifically with like bearded dragons, leopard geckos, and I'd even say some monitors like savanna monitors, I'd say honestly the best example is the savanna monitor.
Yes,
that animal needs, I don't know how to get the words out. It's like you need to make that animal survive in the wild,
quote unquote. Yeah,
you need to give that animal what it needs to survive in the wild for it to actually thrive for you in captivity. Because everything that we do for those animals in captivity to make them thrive is what ends up making them die.
Yeah.
So it's like you need to slim down those animals. You need to let those things be lean, and have spaces in between their meals and stuff like that, because that is what they need to survive in the wild. Therefore, it should be able to thrive in captivity when
Also,
you give
like,
it those standards.
we put, like, for example, like what you say, oh, they breed, they eat, and they like, you know, they do the things that we call thriving, but we don't look at other things like the mental simulation of the animal also matters, right? And it shows a lot. So if an animal's not eating, right, then the animal's not doing good, for example. But there's other things that we literally just let pass over our heads. So for example, like when I think of that specifically, I think like you that keep ball pythons. Let's say we have a ball python in a tub, and it eats and it breeds and it does all these things. How much of its time is it spending pushing on the tub?
Yeah.
That shows. That's not thriving.
Yeah.
That's not a natural behavior. That's not a that just shows the animal wants out. That shows the animal's bored maybe. But that's just not thriving. Got
you. So I mean, you could definitely go into early episodes of this podcast, probably some of the first ones of, you know, when it was you, me, and Tino, and I more than likely said, oh, if it eats, shits, and breeds. And I know for a fact those words have come out of my mouth. Yeah. I'm like 80% sure it's been on the podcast. But we all make mistakes. You know, it's not a mistake, though.
What?
Becoming a member. A great way to support the boys is heading over to modernreptileshop.com. We have the Reptiles with Coffee, a bunch of different t-shirt designs, and of course, on YouTube, you could become a member. And I think even on streaming platforms, I might introduce that. I just don't know what that looks like yet, but that's a problem for early next year.
Dude, can you believe we're getting sponsored by the biggest reptile company yet?
I can't. We just gotta tell Yoshii, see what he thinks.
All right, Yoshii.
Oh my God, this is not what it looks like.
This video is sponsored by Morph Market, the world's largest marketplace for reptiles, amphibians, and even arachnids. Buy directly from verified sellers. Whether you're a first-time keeper or a hobbyist, Morph Market connects you with the best in the hobby.
I use it for shipping.
Always use Morph Market for your next reptile. Let's keep on going.
All right, we all know reptiles need bugs. And what better place to look for your bugs than online, not just any place, at dubia.com, because on there, not only can you find dubia roaches, you can find hornworms, you can find mealworms, and Discord roaches for your Florida folks. And while you're at it, you can go and scrolling through on their website. They also sell really awesome front open enclosures, super easy to build. So this is a nice example of one of their 4x2s, and I'm currently working on saving up to get some of those 4x4s, so these little carpet pythons can get nice and big and look awesome.
Let's talk about our mistakes. Let's talk about things that we fucked up with. Can you guys
first?
get vulnerable?
I can get vulnerable.
I'm trying to think of a mistake. I can't think of one, but I know I've made a lot. I'm just blanking out. No, I have plenty for sure.
I have 3 specific ones that stick out to me. I will let Eric go first.
Okay. So something that we touched up on a previous episode, we're talking about electricity. I'll say this again. Watch what you plug in, because can I?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. Don't say the name of the
place.
place.
No, of course. I had a job.
I had a job.
At a previous job, right? I accidentally unplugged something and did not think in the moment to see where it led to and see if he was even plugged in. And I cooked a lot of geckos that didn't need to be cooked.
I was there for that.
You were there for that. You were there for that.
Yes,
Tyler wasn't born yet.
Yeah.
That was a terrible night.
Yeah.
That I had to endure because I just didn't click at the moment.
You were very new into that side of the industry.
That was my wake up call in terms of like industry, like breeding setup stuff.
Like,
that was my like, hey, like this cannot ever happen again. Happened kind of again, but it was more of like a blessing in disguise because of something.
It wasn't you.
It wasn't.
I know for a fact it wasn't you. We don't got to get into it, but
it's not even a big deal at this point. But
you know who you are, and I know you're listening.
No, that's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Besides that, I mean, I've done a lot of stupid things when it comes to cohabbing. But the thing is, like, I don't see them as mistakes as much.
He's pro level cohabber, dude.
What the fuck?
Dude, he cohabs his fucking day geckos with his carpet pythons.
Yeah. That's one that I did for a little bit.
Recently.
Yes, recently. It ended up working great.
Look at this man's face.
What do you... It worked. It worked, and it worked awesome.
But it was soft cohab because they were in their own containers.
There's a moment.
Okay,
There's
well, that's a different thing.
The coolest one I did was day gecko with pictus gecko. That was awesome.
And I remember what you used to say. You used to say, be like, oh, it's cool because, like, one of them is nocturnal, so it comes out at night, and then the other one comes out during the day.
And then in the middle of the night and the day, they fight.
Yeah. Yeah. No, listen.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro?
A lot of things.
Yeah.
But one thing I know for sure is that was one of the coolest things I've ever done. But going back to actual mistakes and stuff like that, a lot of it was when I started moving stuff outside, and I had to go through all of the
Nooks and
working
crannies.
out in the nooks and crannies of what it is to do outside keeping, because literally all my like animals' health problems that I have all resulted from when I moved them outside and when I was trying to play with what I had in terms of the space outside. So definitely paying attention to where sunlight hits, how you have to kind of maneuver the way you set up the enclosure for where you have it.
Yeah.
For animals that you would think need a lot of like sunlight and stuff like that, you end up having to put them in shade because of different spots. Like that was a lot of it, you know, and I did go through a lot of pain with the animals. I've lost some animals because of that stuff. Mostly in terms of like security with outside stuff.
Yeah.
Animals have died because of that. That really sucked. And animals have gotten sick because of that stuff as well. And it really does suck because the animals they end up suffering for your mistakes. And that really, really sucks. That hits the hardest for me. And you kind of just try to make right. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
And you got to keep adjusting.
Yeah. You got to keep adjusting, and that's just the name of the game.
Yeah. You got yours?
Mistakes that I've made.
Here we go.
When I was little, no, this one fucked me up. I'm not gonna lie, I was fucking angry.
Yeah.
I was a young boy, and I was a little bit of a poacher,
Yeah.
I poached some turtles.
Ooh.
And I put them in my tank. And
And
baby
they
turtles.
died.
No, it was all fine. It was fine for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And then I poached one fucking turtle.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Goddamn soft shell.
Oh.
With some fucking disease. Shell looked like Garabaje.
Yeah.
And it killed all my turtles.
Yeah.
And I was like, never again. Fuck those things.
Fuck turtles. I'm never touching one again.
Yeah, I was fucking livid.
Yeah.
That happened to me with that, and it also happened with me with a snake. I had a banded water snake, and then I found a pinewood snake. And I brought the pinewood snake in, and it had some weird disease, and it killed my banded, and then it died. I was like, fuck you thing.
Yeah.
Fuck you. So I think those are two mistakes that I've made. Outside of that, like more recent, I don't know. I mean,
He is perfection.
no. I mean, I've been bit by a crocodile monitor. That's
Yeah.
a mistake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I fucking was too comfortable around him, and I dropped some food in a bucket, and my dumbass followed the food, and
You
then
got
I just shot my hand back, and then he bit my stomach.
You got Crutchfield.
I did get Crutchfield on a belly.
Yeah.
You got Crutchfield on that nose, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think those are some of my mistakes.
Yeah, it's crazy because in my list I have nothing. I've got nothing
You're
here.
such a piece of shit.
Yeah. No, I have 3 specific ones though, for real. To piggyback off of what you said about the turtles, I got 2 story with Chelonians. So with turtles, I used to run 1 filter for like 2 or 3 ponds, right? I said it before, and it was like a badass system, and it is a badass system until it's not. I got in. This is when we were allowed to have diamondback terrapins. I got in a diamondback terrapin. They get fungus really easy because they live in brackish water, and in captivity, a lot of people supplemented by different kinds of salts. At that time I was trying different kinds of salts, and trying to find my flow with them. I was just getting into them. One of the animals ended up getting a fungus, and through bad biosecurity of touching things, I passed it on to one of the animals in the pond that shared a filter. And then all of a sudden, every single one of my turtles, little by little, started getting a fungus. And then the thing is that the ones that didn't definitely got it when we got a hurricane, and I brought everything in. And again, bad biosecurity, not paying attention, different bins and this and that, and having to move things in and out, in and out, in and out. And also not understanding something that you said, Eric, earlier of letting the animals, like understanding that the animals can be fine. You can leave them alone for a couple days. They can handle shit on their own. If you need to keep them in a, if I needed to keep the turtles in the bin in like some moss for like 3 days, that would have been fine. I didn't have to go, I have like 3 hours of sunlight, I need to put them outside right now, and then go do that, and then understanding that I'm just putting stress on the animal, and all that stress is hurting their immune system. So while I'm trying to combat this fungus and putting them stress and this and that, like, it's just like, it's a recipe for disaster. And that was like the first time that I had like, what I would say is a mass exodus of like animals that I was keeping. But I was also like, I have to give myself a little bit of grace because of how new I was into this thing, but also at the same time understanding the responsibility of that these are live animals. They're not just something that just because like you could buy another one, that doesn't mean that that animal wasn't alive.
I had very like almost carbon copy example. Right when I started keeping stuff outside, I had a fungus issue. Yeah. Within treating the fungus issue, I ended up giving them RIs.
Yep.
So then I had to fight both of that.
And when the fungus gets into the respiratory thing, that's when it's like
screwed.
Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster. And on the segues are crazy. Tortoise respiratory infection. That I did experience that also around that time of that same hurricane. That same hurricane fucked my life.
Was it Hurricane Andrew?
No, it wasn't that long ago, buddy. But I've worked with a lot of tortoise species. You guys only got to experience me when I had a few sulcatas and my redfoot tortoises, but I had a bunch of different kind of testudo, and they all got respiratory infections throughout this whole thing, and they crashed. And then like Greek tortoises that they don't handle a lot of humidity with all that rain, they're the ones that kind of started it off. They got the respiratory infections, bad biosecurity, pass it on to my Russian tortoises, bad biosecurity, pass it on to my Herman's tortoises, and I lost a lot of them. It kind of like kills you. You start to it wanes on you, it burns you, and it's like, again, like just not being smart enough and not doing the things correctly. Something else that happened with the tortoises was, I've said that, I know I've said this one for sure on the podcast. My dad has bred birds my whole life, and we were living in the house where I was living with him when I first got my tortoises. I had some very large sulcata tortoises. I was breeding them. I thought that I was starting to live my reptilian dreams, and with birds and bird droppings of the foods comes rodents. It's 1 and 1. That's how it is. And your neighbors don't like rodents. Neighbors start throwing out rat poison, right? Rats start dying in my sulcata pen. Tortoises eat carrion. Tortoises eat poison. And that happened to me, and I lost the 3 sulcatas that I had. And I got one more mistake. And this, what's crazy, guys? This all happened, everything that I'm saying, in the same year.
You suck.
That was your Spider-Man 2
This
scenario.
was my second year into having reptiles.
Wow.
This is brand new. First year was like this. I was like, oh my God, I'm doing it, guys. This is great. Second year, I was like, everybody's got a story with mites. This was my mite story.
God, I completely forgot
never had
about
mites.
that.
Really?
Me either.
Ever.
Oh, there's no wood in
You just haven't known. Everybody knock on wood.
Tyler's got wood.
No, I never have. But I also don't have like weird collections like you guys.
Yeah, so I was living my hybrid dreams, right? And I had gotten a.
I'm so happy you got mites.
I used to work for a reptile auction, one of the top reptile auctions, and through the world, and through that, I've won a Sumatran short-tail or black blood python.
Wow.
And it was, it was 1,100 grams. It was a couple years old. And I was like, this is my step up from ball pythons, right? So I did, I was like, this was my dream. This was my thing, right? This is animals, has a lot of melanin. I'm going to breed it with a banana pied ball python. And it's going to take out all of those purple things. And then I'm going to get a second generation and make this hybrid of a purple pied, pretty much a Sumatran black blood ball. That was my whole thing.
I would have killed you.
Yeah, you see, the problem is when you get animals in this caliber and sometimes in those kinds of environments, and more than likely this animal either came from the wild or in somebody else's facility, and they needed to rush this animal out and sell it to somebody that was going to auction it, you get mites, and this was I had just started using cocoa bedding, right? And I swear I was like, it was the cocoa. It was a bad because I mean
It was the blood.
well, yeah, it was the fucking
blood.
Yeah, it was that for sure. But I thought it was for the longest time. I was like, oh, it's the cocoa. The cocoa gave it to me, and then I would fight with people online because you're like, you don't get mites from cocoa, and I was like, yeah, but if you have mites and you sell me cocoa that had a hole in the bag, and I could get mites like that, but it's just like, no, dude. It
trying to make
was the
equations.
Sumatran fucking
Yeah.
thing.
No, it was the anti-hybrid gods that gave
Yeah.
it to you.
Yeah, pretty much. And then because of that, I ended up missing my second year breeding ball pythons.
Hell yeah.
I guess I should. It wasn't the second year of me having reptiles. It was the second year of me breeding ball pythons, which are part of the journey. It was, when I was established. That was year 2, right? And I had to skip that year because all of my animals had mites. Every single one.
Bloods.
Every single one.
I'm
Fucking
glad you
bloods.
didn't get that
Yeah.
stupid hybrid.
Yeah. And now I can say proudly to this day, I have been mite free. I have been mite free.
Hell yeah.
I've never had them.
Yeah.
I thought I would
Glad.
at least get them with the outside stuff, and I never have.
It's a captive problem.
Finding the right substrate is a paramount part of reptile keeping. And if you're looking for the best cocoa option, we recommend Cocoa to Go. Cocoa can be used for reptiles, amphibians, and even plants, so they're perfect for any kind of setup. So we make sure to use Cocoa to Go. Let them know that the Reptiles With Podcast sent you. What makes a good keeper / breeder?
I got some good ones.
Go.
Some 3 very important traits.
Yeah.
Self-awareness, accountability, and I got the last one.
Oh my
Pulling
God.
it up.
Pull it up and break it down for us.
All right. Humility. Self-awareness, accountability, and humility. Because something that I've realized, especially like something that I popped into my head as we were talking, is that a lot of the problems we have start from having a lot of animals. And having the self-awareness to realize when you have too many is a very important thing. And holding yourself accountable to those lives of the 50 plus animals you have in a room, and having the humility to basically know when to let go of stuff, know your limits, and to be able to admit when you're wrong and be willing to learn. Especially when it comes to breeding and stuff like that, people get they get cocky, shit goes south, and then that's when the bickering starts, and that's when all the big drama starts, because no one is able to let go of some ego to kind of learn from each other.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've noticed within animals, period. And any hobby, if we're being completely honest, but when it comes to the animals specifically, people are very stuck in their ways. They gatekeep, and they shut their doors from learning something new, and that's what I think really kills it.
Yeah.
So I definitely say be self-aware enough to understand what you're doing and realize what it is that you're doing, and don't deny it when things go south, or when you a lot of poor breeding practices. Own up to it when something happens, and like when people inbreed too much and they start popping out stupid stuff,
like kinks and deformities,
and they try to make that a gimmick.
Yeah.
What?
No, I
What
said
the fuck is this
kinks.
guy
I
doing?
said kinks, and Tyler gave me a sexy face, dude.
No, but
Kinks are his kink.
just
Yeah. Chuck, what makes a good guy? What makes a good keeper
what makes
breeder?
a good guy.
A
What
good
makes
guy.
a guy?
So, for me, I'm in a. How do I say this without sounding like a piece of shit? I think a good keeper / breeder, would be someone that knows what they're doing in the aspect of hold up. Like whenever I have a conversation with them, they're not telling me a care sheet. They're telling me
Information.
actual shit.
Yeah.
Someone that knows the animal, where the animal is from, what the habitat is like.
They don't hit you with ball pythons 88 to 92
Yeah,
degrees
that
is a
shit.
hot
If you
spot.
if you hit me with that shit, you lost
Tell
me.
me
I'm
about
out.
what the animal's doing in the wild.
It's not even what they're doing. It's oh, they come from this forest, and this forest is like this.
Yeah.
And this forest has this,
which
and
is
that.
why I do this.
Exactly. That is the type of keeper and breeder that I have a conversation with, and I go, oh shit, you know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
Which is how I feel a lot of times with Ron. For example, whenever I have a conversation with Ron, I'm like, fuck. You actually think about all these things.
Yeah.
Oh, the emeralds and the green trees. In the wild, they need this. So I built this tub down here so that humidity does this, this, and that. And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay, you got it figured out. He didn't go, well, the care sheet told me, because that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And I feel like the majority of the pet trade is very like, I looked online at this care sheet made by blah, 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 and this is what it's like. And it's like,
I actually, right now on my website, I just finished writing 2 care sheets. One for blue tongues and one for ball pythons. And the whole goal of it was to provide you with, like, the first excerpt is like a chart where it's just like, okay, these are like your quick information that you're gonna need for this animal, which is like the basic care sheet things. And then the next thing is like, this is the ecology of the animal, this is the information of the animal in the wild, this is their cultural relevance, this is whatever. And then when I get into like the temperature and humidity, I'm like, this is their average like temperature and humidity throughout the year in their native area. And then like I'll put like specific things, like, which is like, this doesn't mean that you should do this, but like understand that like if you can provide them or if you can mimic your thing or whatever. And it's just like, yeah, sometimes you got to go a little bit on that extra I say that because I guess I am a good keeper breeder, right?
There you go. There you go.
Let's go.
That's good.
No,
That's
I
a
get
good
you, I
thing.
get
That's
you.
a
I'm
good
kidding.
thing. Like, I've been in the hobby, I guess, so long.
Yeah.
Those conversations do not attract me if it's not with that.
No, I
They
get
just
it.
Don't.
I get it.
It's just like, you're gonna talk to me about a care sheet, I'm out. Like, I just want to know what it is, and it depends on the species too. Because again, I've been on it for so long. But like, if you have a weird species and it's like, I was told to do this, this, and that, I'm out. If you go, I figured it out because I looked into this, and that, then I'm in. I'm in that conversation because I want to know what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
That you found out about this animal in the wild, because that's what makes them cool to me, at least.
Yeah, I agree. So I have here someone. I literally, it's gonna sound like I'm gonna sound like such a fucking asshole because it's some shit that I'm like, this is what I do. No, but it's like I look forward to talking with people that are always trying to improve what it is that they do. They like see what their standard is and see what the standard is, and then every year it's like, oh, I'm trying to do a little bit more. I'm trying to, see if I could play with this and play with that, and then on top of that, like somebody who's like transparent about their failures, transparent about how they got to the result, even if it was like maybe not the most popular thing, but in the end of the day, like if all of that made sense for a good positive result in the animal and your production, then it's just like, okay, this is somebody that's reliable, reputable, that I can trust the information that I'm getting, because it's not just somebody that like, oh well, Pepe Juan Leche fucking told me this shit, so I'm gonna just do what he told me and I mimicked it and it worked. It's just like, okay, yeah, like it's great that you're a parrot, but also like how, like, what is your imprint in this, and that's what I look forward to when I'm like, how are you a good source of information for this?
Are you a copy paste fucker, or are you your own person?
Yeah, I think we did it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.